What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Demon Reads Comics. Today we're going to check out, this one's kind of a hard one to do because there's a lot of nudity in it. Not, unlike the previous one that I did, I know that one had Carmen had like nudity, but it wasn't like so in your face and there wasn't like any sex scenes and things like that. This one does have a lot of that, and so I got to be very careful when I'm flipping through the pages. So the book I'm talking about is called Faithless. This book is, so first and foremost, it's a hardcover deluxe edition. It's published by Boom Studios, and not the artist, give me a second. The story is by Brian Azzarello, art is by Maria Lovett, and letters by And World Design. And this does have sewn binding. Although this is one of the books that I received that the sewn binding was messed up and I had to try to fix it with glue. And even when I did fix it, it didn't fix like perfectly all the way. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell there. You can probably tell better on the bottom that it's kind of coming apart again. And so, yeah, like this one I had to fix. I don't know about it, how to fix them too much. I saw a tutorial. I think his name is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Conditions. He actually showed how he does it, and I tried to copy him. Although I don't think the glue that I got was that good. So anyway, so yeah, this book is a little bit weird. It was a good read, but it was weird to me because I really didn't understand it, like to the point where I was like, wait, what? And so it kind of reminds me of Fatal a little bit by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. And it also kind of reminds me of the movie The Devil's Advocate with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves, in a sense. Because there's some things in here that I didn't quite understand. And it really doesn't tell you, actually. It kind of leaves it open for you for your own interpretation. I don't mind when books do that to a point. But when it does it, like, a lot, it doesn't interest me. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to crack this open, flip through it. I'm going to try to see if I can skip to some pages, because not only for plot points, but because of the nudity part. And I know how YouTube is with that. I don't understand how YouTube's completely fine with showing violence, grotesque gore, and things like that. But the second you show a nipple or something like that, they're like, oh, wait a minute, not this one, So I don't know. They're weird. But yeah, let's go ahead and crack this open, and I'll tell you about the plot a little bit. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and crack this open. First and foremost, I do want to say that the end sheets are very beautiful. I like this color. It's like a fluorescent pink. That's freaking awesome. It is an erotic depiction, depiction of faith, sex, and the devil in the tradition of the Divine Comedy. I don't know what really that means, but anyway, Faithless. Story by Brian Azzarello, art by Maria Lovett, letters by And World Design. I've heard a lot about Brian Azzarello. I don't know if I've read any of his stuff yet. I might have, but I don't think so. But I heard some very good things about him. This does have, before we go any further, this has 496 pages, but it's a very quick read because the pages are very, very thick. And so it is a quick read. There's 18 issues, and it's kind of broken down like this. This book is called Faithless. But it's called Faithless, but it contains Faithless 1, Faithless 2, and Faithless 3. And all those Faithless, like Faithless 1 has 6 issues, Faithless 2 has 6 issues, and Faithless 3 has 6 issues. So in total, there's a total of 18 issues, which they break down into chapters in this. In each chapter, you get one of these readings where it says, only in the fever of creation could she create her own lost life. In every single one of them, it does that. I can't really show that one. We can show that. Okay. So we get introduced to this character right here and her friends. This is Faith. And then we get introduced to her roommate, Aya, which is her right here, which actually is her, and their other roommate, Max. And then we also get introduced to another of their friends, Ginny. Now, they're at a cafe and they're talking about some stuff, and in a nutshell, right here, Faithless is drawing in her book some like magic stuff. some cult, maybe occult magic stuff. I really don't know what it is. It's like these symbols. Let me see if it's in the no. It's like these symbols that we see. And we do see those symbols from time to time. Anyway, when they're done talking, she starts leaving and she bumps into Poppy. Poppy's kind of weird because right when we get introduced to Poppy, strange things start happening. In a sense, we don't know who Poppy is. She, Faith gets really interested into Poppy, where they kind of get like a strong sexual connection, and it kind of goes from there to the point where there's this guy looking for Poppy, and the second she comes up to him, he grabs her. Faith is like, let her go, and he's like, okay, yes. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? What's weird to me is this book, the art's kind of weird to me because it's nice art, but it's sketchy. So it's not like smooth. And another thing that I did that didn't really kind of, I don't know, like I didn't quite understand is from one page kind of to the next at most parts, it jumps to like later in the day or the next day. And you have to kind of know that happens, because if not, you're like, okay, what just happened? On top of that, some of the some of the story makes no sense. Like, let's see if we can go right. I think it's this one. Right here. Thanks for taking me out the back. This guy, like, he's Poppy. Persistent? It's over, Michael. I get that, but can you tell me why? For like the umpteenth time. I'm tired of excuses. Why is I don't love you an excuse? Because I know you don't mean it. What we've shared is, let her go. What? Let go. Oh, yes, you're what? And that's where it ends. Like, I understood this part, but up until right here, I'm like, what? Yes, I'm what? Was he going to say, yes, I'm sorry? And it does that a lot. It does that quite a lot, to the point where I'm like, wait, what? What just happened? I understood it because I had to read it like 5 or 6 times. But anyway, so after that happened, Poppy and Faith go to another bar. They play pool. They start kind of talking to each other, which again kind of doesn't make sense. Like the story, right? Especially this one right here. Look, so they're playing pool. Poppy's like, sorry, you had to see that. And she's all like, oh gosh, don't tell me how to be. Relax, I'm just effing with you. Sorry. So before you spilled coffee all over me, you were talking about magic. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Wait, what? You think so? I don't know. It sounds cool. Can you turn people into frogs? You see frogs around here? Ha. And I don't know. It's just, it cuts to the next dialogue way too quick, and it doesn't fill in, for me at least. Anyway, so it does that a lot for me. I know some people can understand that, but for me, the transition from one tile to the next, and the story just didn't sit well with me. Right here, they're still talking. Whoa, nice shot. Was that magic? Maybe, sure. And then she's like, shit. Isn't that? Yeah, it is. This is embarrassing. It's what? Kinda. Michael? Like, what? And I get what's going on here, but at first when I read it, I was like, what just happened? So this part is, Faith, isn't that? And then Poppy's like, yeah, it is. This is embarrassing. Talking about that, he's on TV. And then Faith is like, it's what? And then I was like, kinda what? It's kind of embarrassing. And so I didn't understand how that goes so far. I'm sorry, I'm kind of reading a little bit. It's just, in my mind, it made no sense when I first read it. So I had to read it again and then read it again. And I was like, okay, I understand it. And I think that's why it didn't really sit well with me too well. Anyway, something happens to this guy. Faith is all crushed about it, but Faith is all crushed about it, but not Poppy. And you don't understand why. And it doesn't really explain why. Anyway, they get closer together. They end up staying the night with each other, talking about their magic, the magic. At first, I thought it all had to do with magic, but when I kept reading it, I don't think it had anything to do with magic. I think it had to do I honestly think this chick is the devil's daughter, and her dad is the devil, but it doesn't explain that. And anyway, they end up sleeping together. I can't really show that one. Good thing it doesn't show too much. There we go. And then we got, chapter 2. And then, it just, the more, not only does Faith sleep with her, she sleeps with the dad, his name is Louise. She sleeps with the guy named Solomon. She starts sleeping around, but what ends up happening is some of her friends start dying off, and you don't understand why. Like, is Faith the one that's doing it, or is it Poppy and her dad the one that's doing it? And it doesn't really explain that too much. I mean, this shows up, and you're like, wait, what? This does come into play a little bit later on, so I don't want to give that part away. But the story in itself, that's pretty much about it. Is Faith she's faithless. Like, she's not with one person or another. She's just messing around with everybody, and she becomes an artist and draws a lot of stuff, and she becomes a great artist. But she gets she gets too deep into it and starts losing sight of her friends. And when they start dying off, the only friend that she has left is Giddy. And even at that, she kind of gets distant from her, and it doesn't really explain why she gets distant. This is when you meet Solomon. So, I mean, maybe it does explain it, but it's just the dialect didn't really... This is when you meet Luis. He's very weird, by the way. And like I said, you don't really... I honestly think... I don't know if it's like I said, I don't know if what's going on with people, because it's a sense where Faith can tell people what to do, but I don't know if she can tell people what to do when she's by herself. Because everything that happens, she's either with Luis, the father, or she's with Poppy, the daughter. So I don't know if it's the magic she's talking about, or if it's them making her thinking that she's doing what she's doing, but it's really them. That's what I don't really understand about this. And I'm sorry, I don't have to skip that. It doesn't really explain it too much. It leaves a lot of things to the imagination. It's a good read, but overall, it's a good fast read. Oh, I can't really show that one. Or that one. Or that one. Or that one. Here, let's do this. This is when you get a sense of that wolf that I was talking about earlier, that it takes, that you'll see what happens with it. And then you also get introduced to this chick, a homeless female, but this, I don't want to say she plays a big part, but she does kind of. Like, she knows something's up with this girl. And we don't know if, like I said, if it's really Faith the one that's the one that's doing everything, that's causing things to happen, or if it's Poppy and her dad. Because right here she's saying, run, girl, and don't look back. Maybe she's telling her to run away from everything, like run away from, from Poppy, from Louis, from everybody. So, that's what I don't understand. Like, it left it so much open to interpretation that it didn't really sit with me that well, to the point where I enjoyed this book a lot. This is when we find out that Louise dies. And see, this is what I was talking about right here. Hold on. When I was saying that it was starting to come apart, I had to fix this. And I did glue it, but it didn't do that well. But this is when we see that Aya, dies. And then Max starts getting, going through some stuff, and then eventually he passes away. This is when she starts becoming more of an artist. Once she meets up with Luis again, things happen with him. Oh, I can't show that. There we go. But, I mean, like I said, overall, it's a good story. I'm going to kind of flip through a little bit more. Oh, there we go. It's an enjoyable story, but I guess it really just wasn't for me. I was excited because, I know who Brian Azzarello is. I heard of that he does good stuff, but I guess this one just wasn't for me in a nutshell. And it might be for some people, to each his own. But this one was just not for me. The art is pretty cool, though. Like, don't get me wrong. It's kind of like, it's good, but not in a sense. Like, it's smooth, but sketchy all at once. And I think that's actually cool. I can't really show that one. Geez, sorry, I know there's a lot of nudity. There we go. Eventually, Faith ends up going to Italy, which is kind of cool too. And some months do pass by, like 6-7 months. It does tell you that in some of the dialect, like right here actually, when Ginny is talking to her husband, she's like, it's been 6 months, and you know she hasn't really reached out. It was kind of weird too. Like right here, look, Ginny, don't let that B word bother you. Too late for that advice, Ray. And Faith ain't a B. Wasn't? Ray, she's my friend. Like, wasn't what? I don't see. That's what I don't understand. Ginny, don't let that be. I'm just gonna say girl. I don't want to say, you know, the B word because of YouTube. But Ginny, don't let that girl bother you. It's too late for that, Ray. And Faith ain't a girl. Wasn't? Ray, she's my friend. We all lose friends, and then something else starts. But wasn't what? Wasn't what? See, that's what I don't get right there. Anyway, this is when we kind of. She's still in. Still here in the city because you can see here. She's looking at the cafe. But like I said, she ends up going to. Wait. After this part, she ends up going to Italy, and something happens right here. Something weird happens right here. So you can see the book's coming apart really bad right here. Something bad happens right here, but I don't know if it was Faith that did it, because when things do happen, she's always around Poppy and or the dad. I don't think she would have been able to do this if she was by herself. Yeah, see, like I was saying, every single time a chapter ends, you get this. Do the gods light this fire on our hearts, or does each man's mad desire become his god? This B thing was a little bit weird too. We get introduced to this assistant. I'm kind of flipping through a lot of it now. Yeah, and that B coming out of her mouth, that plays a part from the beginning of the page, or I'm sorry, of the issue. But I don't think it after that. I don't think it plays another role after that. I might be wrong though. Here, anyway, I'm just kind of showing you guys a little bit more of the art here. Oh, can't show that one. Oh, here's a wolf again, by the way. Like, things do come back and you see them. But when you start asking yourself why, like, why did they do this? Why did they do that? It's kind of like pointless. Then you start questioning the book to see if it's even that good. But, let me kind of start getting like a whole bunch more, kind of flipping through it. Oh, can't show that one. Now, I do want to say this is a very horrible thing, because not only do we see that like the sex stuff, but there's like some crazy stuff that happens. There's cannibal stuff that happens too. So this book isn't for everybody. It really wasn't for me. It was still a good read though. Thankfully, Ginny is still, you know, there for a while. I'm not gonna say if she is for a while or not. Like, she, you know, something happens to her at the end. You guys are gonna have to read it for yourself. But yeah, I mean, it was a good read. But what I'm gonna do now is kind of flip to the end. I don't want to give any more, you know, spoilers as to what happens. You know, hopefully with what I said was enough. We can go to some of the cover art. This one's not so bad. This one's not so bad. Yeah, okay. Okay, can't show that one. Can't show that one. This one's not so bad. This one's okay. Seeing like things like this is what really what made me think that Luis was the devil. and and Poppy was, the devil's daughter, and they were making Faith do things. Oh, can't show that one. Can't show that one. Nope. 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 Sorry, guys. There's a lot of them that I can't show. This one's not so bad. Fabio Moon, if you guys know his work, he's pretty good. This one's not bad. This one's not bad either, actually. There we go. This was actually awesome to me. This one's cool. With Faith with the wolf, that's cool. This one right here is the one that got me. Him being like a Lucifer one, Poppy with the red eyes, and then you got Faith right there messing with the magic. Yeah, and that's about it. So yeah, that's pretty much the story of this. Like I said, I don't know. It really wasn't for me. I enjoyed the story, but not enough to be like, oh my god, this is an excellent book. So anyway, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cut to the part where I do the rating of the book and see what you guys think. All right, guys. So to do a quick recap, this is Faithless Deluxe Edition, hardcover, by publishers by Boom Studios, and art by Maria Lovett and story by Brian Azzarello. It does have sewn binding, as you can see there. So what am I going to give this story as an overall rating? The art wasn't my cup of tea. It was just so weird because it was good, but it was like sketchy. So the art wasn't that good to me. The story, like, I had to fill in a lot of blanks when it came to the storytelling. So that was another thing. Yeah, the sex thing was okay. There was a lot of it, but like, I think there was too much of it for no reason whatsoever. The violence, I get it. This, all in all, I think I'm gonna give this a 5. I don't think I'm gonna keep it. I think I'm just, I'm not gonna reread it. It wasn't for me. It just didn't pull me in. I didn't resonate with any of the story. I didn't connect with the story, any of the characters. It just wasn't for me. Was it an enjoyable read? Yeah. That being said, me personally, I'm not gonna say I highly recommend it, but if you guys want something out there that's kind of cold horror, something like that with a little bit of sex and violence in it, sure, go ahead and pick this up, but definitely not a recommendation from my part. What I mean by that is, if you guys really want to read it, you guys can probably read this online for free instead of going out and picking up the book. Now, once you read it online, and if it was for you, then definitely, pick up this book in the deluxe edition, which I should have done. But yeah, this definitely wasn't for me, so I'm giving it a rating of 5, which means I'm not going to keep it. So when the time comes for me to do rereads, this isn't going to be in there. And, for the people that enjoyed this and really love this book, I'm sorry. But for me, it just wasn't my cup of tea. And, I read it moving forward. It wasn't as bad, though. Like, there's some stories out there that I read and I was like, this was complete garbage. The discipline was complete garbage to me. I just did not enjoy it whatsoever. Yeah, it just wasn't for me. This one, I'm not going to say it was complete garbage. It just wasn't for me. It almost made the cut of being a 6, but it just, for another reread of this, I might need to do it, but I'm not even looking forward to rereading it to see if I enjoyed it again. So, if I do have the, I guess you can say, like, I want to read it one day again in the future, I'm just going to read it online. So 5 for me. Anyway, if you guys like this video, I hope you guys, give me a like. I know a lot of people have been watching my videos. I'm not saying a lot, like, out there, but I know I get, quite a few views here and there for each video. And if you guys have, please leave a like. It really helps my channel out, not only for me, but for people out there that can, check out my videos and be like, what is this book about? Maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. It helps them make a decision. Also, leave a comment. Did you guys read this book? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys, did you guys not enjoy it? Why didn't you enjoy it? If you guys did enjoy it, why did you enjoy it? Also, leave recommendations for other books for me to read. Next week, what we got in the docket is the Sandman. I'm not going to say trilogy, but the entirety of Sandman. There's 3 omnibus. So that one's going to be, it's going to take me a while, but thankfully I have about a good stack of videos to be uploaded. So by the time I get to Sandman, I'm still going to be, I'm not going to fall too far behind, hopefully. After Sandman, we're going to do Berserker, and then Preacher, and then The Boys, and then, go from there. We still got a whole bunch more. So, like I said, the next one is Sandman after this. And if you guys haven't done so, please subscribe. It really helps my channel out. Not only for me, but like I said, for other people. I know I'm doing these videos for me, but it really helps me out, put my videos out there for other people to see. Because I know I've only seen one other video of doing a review on this, and he didn't do a good job because his channel is more like a family-friendly thing. So when he did it, he explained the story a little bit, but he didn't show much of the art because he couldn't, right? And so I want to be the one where I want to be able to show more and do like these indie ones. I know a lot of people have a lot of videos out there with like superheroes, Marvel, DC. I am a big fan of Marvel and DC, but that's not the type of reading that I like doing. I like reading some of these grounded, and this one's not so grounded because it has to do with devil and cult and stuff like that. But, and same with the Sandman. And I know Sandman actually has to do with like the DC universe. But like more of the grounded stuff, like crime noir, just stuff that's like real life, not superhero stuff. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy my video. I'm thinking about buying another stack of books, not so many this time around, because eventually soon here I'm going to be getting 3 omnibus from Hellblazer. But I kind of want to read like his first appearance, and I've seen that his first appearance is in Swamp Thing, so I'm thinking about picking up Swamp Thing. And that's like 3 or 4 absolutes. Actually, it's 4 absolutes and 2 omnibus after that. I don't know if I'm going to pick up the omnibus, but I for sure want to pick up the absolutes. And then I got to figure out what I'm going to put them in there. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. That being said, we'll see you guys on the next one.